Naming things is something you'll be doing throughout the world building process. Names for the landmarks on your map, names for the creatures you invent, names for people, and the cities where they live. For all these things, you will want names that suit them well, especially for the components that play major roles in the world of your story. As an author, you'll grow attached to the people, places, and things that you'll be focusing on in your story. These are your brain children, and you'll want to give them names that fit just right. One way you can come up with names is by focusing on phonetics, how names sound. You might grow attached to certain names for the simple reason that they just sound good to you. If you create names according to their sound, keep in mind that sounds convey meaning. How a name sounds tells your reader something about what the name points to. The name Sauron sounds threatening, which is appropriate since the character is threatening. Frodo, on the other hand, does not sound threatening. It's a name that fits this docile and mostly peaceful character. So, as you create names, you want to make sure that the way the names sound fit with the person, place, or thing being named. Along with conveying meaning, the way names sound also establishes consistency in your world. For example, elf names from Lord of the Rings show a consistency in the elf culture. The names are to sound graceful, just as the elvish culture could be described as graceful. Elrond, Galadriel, Legolas. Hear how the L sound creates a lithe and elegant feel. The name bric-a-brac would not fit the culture. Think about how you can use the sounds of names to establish consistency in your world. If Robert and Yargalabalnamar are living in the same village, you probably have a problem on your hands. Another way you can come up with names is by focusing on the etymology or meaning. Most names in our world have a meaning behind them. Aidan comes from the Old Irish word aid, which means fire. So you could attach this name, Aidan, to someone who wields fire or who just has a short temper. Of course, you're not limited to using only the established names of our world when trying to come up with names with meaning. You are free to create your own names. You can do this by assembling parts of words, those being roots, prefixes, and suffixes. Each root, prefix, and suffix means something. So when you assemble these parts, you create a word with a certain meaning. Let's say you wanted to create a name for a fire-breathing lizard. You could begin with the root ignis, which means fire. From this root, we get words like ignite and igneous. You could then add the root sour. As a result, you would have the igniosaur, a fire-breathing lizard. Let's try another one. Let's say you want to create a city that stands for goodness, wisdom, and enlightenment. You might want to have its name mean City of Light. So you could begin with the root cand, which means light. This is where we get the word candle and incandescent. Then you could add the suffix polis, which means city. This suffix is included in the words such as metropolis and Annapolis. So putting cand and polis together, you would get Candopolis, the city of light. John Milton used the same technique when he wrote Paradise Lost, particularly when he was naming the city where Satan and the demons lived. Since this is the city where all demons dwelled, he used the prefix pan, which means all, and added it to the word demon. And this is where we get the word pandemonium. One more word of advice before we conclude. As you come up with names, write them down. It's very unfortunate to come up with a beautiful name only to forget it an hour later when you sit down to do your writing. As you world build, keep a document handy that's dedicated to names. In this document, write down the names as they come to your head so you'll be able to use them later on. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. This was a lesson in my world building workshop for fantasy writing. You can get the full course on this playlist right here. And if you'd like to get the course without any ads or without any interruptions, you can get it on Udemy, which I'll include in a link in the description. So again, thanks for watching and happy world building and happy writing.